A proposal for installing a backup power supply. Introduction. A power supply is a device used to convert the output from an AC power line to a steady output. The output may be single, or it may be made multiple. This is done to ensure the electrical components connected to the line are not exposed to transients and variations of the supply line. Power supplies can also be used to act as sources of power to prevent a supply cut when the main supply line fails. When used in this way, they are termed uninterrupted power supplies. This proposal aims to explain the need to install an alternative power supply for the Terrapin Control System contract. The project experiences difficulties in the power supply. Over the past 4 weeks, 2 power outages have been experienced. These have resulted in destroying the tests for the days in which they occurred. As a result, the project is now behind schedule and no more time can be wasted if the project is to be completed on time. Failure to complete the project in time will result in a cost penalty of $1,000 for any additional day after the deadline. This will result in additional costs for H.L. Winman and Associates. These additional costs can, however, be eliminated by taking appropriate measures. This is the installation of an alternative power supply. If installed, it will prevent this situation from recurring and therefore ensure that the tests do not fall further behind schedule, thus saving the company some money. The tests are carried out daily where 2 sets of switches are tested. One of the switches is exposed to extreme heat while the other is exposed to extreme cold. The switches are then left to operate continuously and automatically for 14 hours. They should operate for the entire time without interruption. In case the test is interrupted, the switches are discarded as they will give the wrong results. Hence, the objectives of this proposed plan are to ensure that the switches are not wasted and also to ensure the completion of the project in the prescribed time frame. This will ensure that the 2 days wasted due to the power outage are taken care of and the project is brought back on schedule. Proposed plan. This section gives the recommendations that can be implemented to solve the problem in question. The backup power supply should be bought as opposed to leasing. This is because the company has many projects that it is undertaking. Comparing the cost of leasing and that which the company will incur by buying the power supply indicates that the latter is cheaper. The enclosed power supply, DIN rail power supply, open frame power supply, LED power supply, and PC power supply are the power supplies available in the market. The enclosed power supplies offer the power of 25 watts through to 1,500 watts. They are more efficient and may be used in extreme environmental conditions. The open range power supply has a power range of between 5 watts and 450 watts. The LED power supply provides either constant current or constant voltage, while the PC power supply is mainly used to supply the computer motherboard with power. For our application, my recommendation is to have a single power supply that will serve both the oven and the deep freezer chamber. The enclosed power supply is proffered because of the large amount of power it can be able to supply and also its versatility when it comes to changing environmental conditions. The power supply that will best suit the project is that of a rating 275 watts, 5 volts, 55 amperes dual output AC/DC enclosed power supply with PFC. A technician on site may also be another solution to the faced problem. This option is, however, not viable since the technician may not be able to solve the problem of lack of power when it happens. Their task will only be monitoring the tests. The use of the timer, therefore, is a more efficient way as the programmed timer doesn't fail too often. The cost of installing the timer will be less than that incurred if a technician is employed. Conclusion. The need to incorporate an alternative power supply in the project cannot be overlooked. This is because it will help in the prevention of test degradation. This will ensure that the project is completed on time and the time that was wasted on the days when there was a power outage is taken care of. The power supply should be bought as opposed to leasing since this is a more economical way. Leasing is also only for a certain period and may not be able to cater to future emergencies that may arise. Only one power supply is sufficient to supply both the oven and the deep freezer chamber as it will have 2 outputs. The employment of a technician is also not recommended since it will increase the running costs of the project. The use of the timer is preferred in this case because of its accuracy and efficiency.